Hello and welcome. This is Brandon Waddell, Charter Market Technician, and I'm going to take a look at the Nifty and Bank Nifty for you guys. Just doing some off-the-cuff analysis here of the charts. Starting off on the weekly chart, it looks as though the weekly demand zone actually held here. I didn't think this was a quality zone, but it actually is holding. You see we have a little bit more bearish pressure than we had before, so it'll be interesting to see how much more of a bounce we get out of this. So far this week, we haven't violated the prior week's high. That's going to be a critical point to be able to get much higher in price. If not, if we start to fail and push back down, we could push all the way back down into the 15,800 area. Overall, though, this looks more like a correction than it does an impulse to the downside. You see, we are really just kind of correcting the overall upward move in price. And if we go from this low to where we are at the high, let's see where we are as far as retracement values. We retraced about 78.6%, which is pretty deep. That's very bearish overall. So it's a kind of a long retracement. We'll see if it's done, though. Going down to the daily time frame, a little bit choppy here. We actually see more bearishness as we made lower lows both in price and the indicator. And currently, as we're rallying, we're having difficulty getting back up above 50, let alone 60. So right now, as we bounce, this may be it. We're moving up into this area, which is a supply zone now on the daily chart. As you can see at, let's see, we got drop, base, drop at about 17,184, 17,379. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to pierce that. We are trying to push back up today on the candles there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do much. If we can't breach the prior high, then forget about it. We're going to continue to push back down. And the preceding impulses, let's see, we've had impulse, correction. It was kind of in the middle here. It wasn't really out of zone. So we could continue to move back down. But really, the area I'd be looking at now is the current impulse and correction. Let me get rid of that weekly demand zone anyway. There we go. So two things. One, we impulsed down. Let's see if we've corrected back to a retracement value, and we did 61.8% right there. So that may be the end of the retracement and continuation to the downside. Should we be able to break out, we could go deeper into the zone, but I just don't see it happening. We don't have enough bullish momentum to really cause that to happen. So if we're done retracing, the newest impulse down should carry us at least to the prior lows, just to break those prior lows a little bit, and then continuation down to 15,926. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, let's see what's going on there. Nothing's really changed. Still the same area. You got drop, base, drop, so you can kind of fine tune this a little more if you wanted to just that green candle for the basing. Yeah, 17,184, 17,298, but still the same targets on the downside, 16,395 and 15,926. Going down even closer on the 60-minute time frame, see if there's any actionable opportunities here. We still see the same area of supply, and well, we're still below the prior highs, so we can't really see anything. Actually, I forgot to check on the 4-hour, the trend. So let's do that. Yeah, the trend is still somewhat weak here, but gaining some strength. So that's the saving grace, but I don't see us pushing up too high. You can see that we don't really have anything other than the same area that we looked at before. Drop, base, 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 and drop. Maybe fine-tune that zone just a little bit more, but overall, same picture. Really looking at selling off around the 17,220 if we haven't already hit our high on the 4-hour time frame. And as we move down, the next real demand that I see before we hit those fib extensions is going to be right there at that rally base and gap to the upside. This doesn't really give us a whole lot of bullish pressure, and we were already kind of in that area before. So this is where I'd be looking for taking a little bit of profits if you sell around that 17,220. See maybe a bounce there, 16,634. Going all the way down to 15-minute, we don't really have much here. You know, you do have a little bit of buying pressure that comes in at 17,026, but if the downward trend picks up, that's not going to hold. So that's what I'm seeing on the Nifty. We can go over to the Bank Nifty, or Nifty Bank. There we are. And again, start off with the big picture, and let me clean this up as well. So you can see that we have pulled back quite a bit and kind of snapped our overall uptrend, although the longer term uptrend seems to be intact, which is actually a positive for price because we're sitting right on that trend line, aren't we? Let's take a look. I touch these two and extend out. Oh no, we don't actually touch it there. Yeah, you can see we're pretty far away from it altogether. So I was just kind of curious to see if there's a trend developing, but still has some room to go possibly to the downside, according to that. And we are dangerously close to 40, which would give us the change in trend. We don't have anything yet. The only thing we did on the weekly chart that made me a little nervous is the rally here a few weeks back failed to get the RSI up above 60. And because of that, you're seeing weakness coming in and continuing to the downside. We are at a small little demand zone here on the weekly chart, or just above it, actually. I've got rally, base, base, rally, but it didn't breach prior high, so it's not a very strong area of demand. The stronger demand zone actually is much lower, but that would require a trend change and a break of the trend line as well. So that could be extremely bearish if we do break down towards that 24,000, but we'll give this one a chance. Obviously, we're not there yet to see. Dropping down to the daily time frame, now we got an area supply, pretty similar to what we had on the Nifty here, where we've got rally, base, base, drop. Well, actually, that's not base, it's just rally, base, drop. So we got that one candle for the basing, good dropping out of there, lots of selling pressure there at 36,789. Momentum is still to the downside, so this may be all we get after a pullback. Really, we had this kind of an impulse down, and we retraced about 50% already, didn't we? Not quite. And I could probably measure all the way from the highs too, for this area. And you can see 38% retracement before we're continuing down. Getting a small little bump here, but overall the momentum is still strong to the downside. So it looks like it's going to continue. So I'll remove this and bring in my extension to let us know where we're likely to head to. If that's the top of the move right now, rather than going to the supply, looks like we got our first target right above that higher time frame demand on the weekly at about 32,275, somewhere around there. So keep an eye out for that. Going down to the 4-hour time frame to fine tune this a little bit more. Nothing's really changed except for the supply zone can drop a little bit. You've got a drop, base, and drop right there in price. But other than that, nothing else has really changed. We're still seeing plenty of bearish momentum and going below 40, no problem on the RSI. Going down to the 60-minute time frame. Still in that bearish trend, not seeing as much weakness though. We got a divergence. And that divergence led to the bullish move that we're currently in. You can see we made lower lows on price. However, on the indicator, we made higher lows. So that's a positive divergence that led to this move up. Now, it doesn't change the trend unless we get another signal that is telling us that we're going to turn around. So that signal would be if we make another low but fail to break fail to break 40. Or if we simply trade above 60. Either one of those would be a signal for trend reversal in this time frame. Problem is, even if we do that, we still have lots of selling pressure up above. You got drop, base, drop right here. We still haven't hit. And then, of course, the one up above, you can fine-tune that a little bit more too. Drop, base, drop. So I don't see us moving up very fast on the Bank Nifty at all. There's just no opportunity. It's easier to go to the downside. If we drop this down to a 15-minute chart, nothing's really changed. We're still looking at the exact same spot. So that's what I'm seeing on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty for this week. Until next time, trade safe, trade well. And if you like the video, make sure you hit like and let me know as well. And hit the subscribe so you can be notified when there's new videos coming up. You can also follow me on Twitter at TraderBDub for Twitter. Until next time, trade safe, trade well. Take care.